Hi everyone, thanks for joining me. You're watching In Deep on the Delta. This is the weekly report for September 14th, and it's a good one. I think we've had some of the most consistent and some of the best largemouth bass fishing that we've seen all year. And I know it's 2023, so take that into consideration, but it's getting more and more like the old Delta. We're going to have a special guest on talking about what he's been doing in the last couple weeks, and we'll get into largemouth bass here very shortly. I've got a little bit of business, and I want to, one last time, we had the drawing for the 1 million view In Deep on the Delta milestone a couple weeks ago. 2 people still have not collected their $50 gift certificate from out at the Bass Hole, and I want to just hit up Mark Schubert and Just Chillin'. Mark Schubert, Just Chilling. One more week to get a hold of me at scooper9561032@gmail.com. Let me know you're out there. We'll exchange information on how we can contact each other, and I'll give you the information that you will need to know to get over to the Bass Hole and collect your gift certificate. And you got until next Wednesday, and if I haven't heard from you folks, I will draw 2 more names next Thursday during the report. With that, we'll do a little bit of river conditions. We'll get into the stripers, and then we'll have our special guest on. Then we'll wrap it up with some information on the largemouth bass fishing, what you can expect for next week. And I'll just start off by saying the Delta is in prime shape. It is in excellent shape. There has been some spraying out there. You're going to see some brown vegetation. The brown vegetation is producing fish this type of year, or this time of year. The fish, tend to hold on that dying stuff a little more than they do in the summer. Don't be driven off by the brown vegetation out there. Water clarity, and I have been from Big Franks, Little Franks, Mildred, Mandeville, up and down the channel, up and down the sloughs this week. I'm seeing about 5 feet of visibility. Water temperatures are in the mid-70s. I've had reports, guys going out from the McCollum B&W going up that way. Water temperatures are a little cooler up there, but generally mid-70s, 72 to 76 degrees is what you're going to find out here. We're going to have 80 to 90 degree temperatures coming up in the next week, but the evenings are cool. So we're all expecting to see that water temperature just keep kind of gradually declining, and that's what I hope it does. As long as, we don't get winter coming in overnight and we start getting, maybe 60 and 70 degree water temp or air temperatures during the daytime, that slow burn where the water's just gradually going from 75, 74, 73, we should get 3 or 4 weeks of really, really good fishing coming up. Very light pressure out here. There's no tournaments going on. I do know I believe there's a NorCal Bass Club tournament Saturday. We'll talk about that on next week's report. But there's very little pressure out here. It is just a great time to be on the Delta. You have lots of places to fish out here. It's just, the fishing's wide open. The bite's not wide open, but you can go anywhere you want out here right now and find good water, fishable water, without a lot of people skiing or jet boating around you or other bass fishermen. You get to kind of fish your own little pieces of paradise out here. All right, let's talk a little bit about stripers. And if I was going to be fishing for stripers, I would definitely hold on the Sacramento side. The San Joaquin side seems to not have a whole lot of fish in it right now. The fish that I've been encountering are small stripers. Been fishing around points with currents. Been fishing breaks in flooded islands like Frank's Track or Mildred, where you have those big breaks. If you're looking for stripers, look for the bigger breaks. I have not been targeting stripers. We've just been catching them on primarily chatterbaits, and every now and then I'll get one on a wake bait. Just haven't got the big ones. Have seen a lot of sea lions in the area, but they're not hunting where you would expect them to be hunting for stripers. They're more in the real shallow water looking for small or looking for bass. And I think that's kind of indication that If the sea lions aren't out there picking up stripers, there's probably not a lot of stripers around. Out of all the sea lions I've seen, I haven't seen one sea lion eating a fish this past week. I would say if you're fishing from Grizzly Island up to Liberty, up and down the Sacramento, if you are way out west, Big Break and out that way, you're probably going to encounter more stripers. And the guys that are catching fish out there are getting a good quality fish between, I'll say, 6, 8, and 10 pounds. Some guys are spooning, some guys are trolling, some guys are chucking big wake baits. I think if you're going out and you haven't been out in a while, I would set up a trolling setup and just, cover some water until you find them. If you want to throw big baits for bigger fish, look for the bigger breaks that are coming through the flooded islands, whether you're out at Liberty, whether you're out at Frank's Track. The stripers are really, heading to that moving water. Okay, with that, let's get into the largemouth bass. We'll start off with our special guest, and it's going to be Christian Oshlander or Oslander. Always have problems pronouncing Christian's last name, but let's hear what Christian has to say about the last couple weeks. He's been out here guiding and fishing pretty routinely out here. So let's listen to what Christian has to say.
You guys know Christian Ostrander, no stranger to the Delta. Christian guides out there, one of the best tournament anglers on the Delta and on the West Coast. But Christian, we got to go out this week, and we had a pretty good day. We caught some fish. Can you just kind of give the folks out there an idea of what you would suggest them using if they're coming out next week, kind of the water they might be looking for, maybe a couple baits to try?
Absolutely. It's really starting to feel like fall out there. You're able to catch them on anything you really, really want. If you want to go throw a square bill, you can catch them on a square bill. If you want to go throw a wake bait, you want to go throw whopper plopper, you can go catch them on those baits. Steve and I, we threw whopper ploppers, wake baits, chatter baits. We caught them on frogs, we caught them on Senko, we caught them on drop shot. Fishing around current, that's a big deal right now. We're just kind of running around fishing openings, fishing current points, fishing big rock bends, a lot of current rushing through.
Shade was a big deal.
Shade was a big,
really
yes. Early in the morning,
well.
I'm fishing shade. That's my deal. Is you chuck that frog back in that shade if that tide's high. Lower tide, we've had a lot of mornings where that tide's low. I think before you guys get out there, where's like a big flat or something, that you could chuck a topwater around, or if they ain't biting a topwater, you can throw a chatterbait. If they ain't biting reaction, you can slow down, drop a worm in the holes of the grass and whatnot. Things like that. But the Delta's picking up for sure, big time. Mm-hmm. And you can come out here and chuck what you want. I'm throwing a lot of shad baits, and I'm throwing crawdad baits as well.
I know when you were throwing a frog, you like a yellow and black.
Yes.
You were throwing a pink worm, purple worm.
Yes.
You threw that white chatterbait. You had some good luck on that.
Mm-hmm.
And it's really just finding the water in front of you. And I learned a lot from the pace that you were fishing. Don't stay in one place for very long. We both know that, but
absolutely,
you take that to a different level. And
yes,
it's if you guys are interested in maybe picking up a date with Christian to have him bring you out there and guide a little bit, I will have your number in the remarks, and you can be reached on Instagram, Facebook.
Absolutely, yes, or Instagram, Facebook. Shoot me a message, or my phone number. Give me a call, shoot me a text, and would love to take you guys out. Next couple, probably got about another month and a half of some pretty good fishing. So
can't wait. It's getting better and better.
Yes, 100%.
Hey, Christian, thanks for giving us your 2 cents, and we'll get back on the water, and we'll do this from time to time.
Yes.
All right, back to the regularly scheduled programming.
So, what have I been finding out here? Basically, Christian wrapped it up in a nutshell. The one thing that I can say is that the fish are transitioning on to shad. So they're transitioning from bluegill and small bass to that shad forage. And I want to talk a little bit about colors. A couple of weeks ago, a month ago, all of my baits were looking almost like bluegill or small bass. And remember, we had some late spawning, so the small bass topwater fishing that I've been doing, it was working out real well. Just a couple of different colors that I was using maybe 2 or 3 weeks ago. So I have been moving from these colors more to a kind of a chartreuse, white belly, kind of a shad color. The last few weeks, this has been a very good color for me. But what I'm finding out now, this color is kind of fading out, and we're moving into almost the all white or bone type stuff. And I'm just showing you, some topwaters that I've been using, some bubble walkers, bubble poppers, Ricos, things like that. So I'm kind of transitioning to the white color, and I think what I'm going to be doing this week is going from white to more of a almost a very drab. We'll call this a full-blown shad color. And one of the reasons I'm doing that is because we're getting more and more clarity out here. So when we have 5 or 6 feet of water clarity, brighter colors and things for me just don't happen. I like to go to the drabber colors. I will say also in the evening, very good bite on the loon colors or the dark colors. Christian talked about throwing a frog. We talked about a yellow and black frog. This is the color that Christian was throwing, not necessarily this frog, but yellow head, black body. This has been a good color in the evening when you're fishing for, that topwater bite between 7 and 8 o'clock. By about 8 o'clock it's starting. I'm getting a little sun on me here, so we're gonna wrap this up real quick. 7 to 8 o'clock has been the magic hour for me. I've had one of my best days of the year where I think I caught about 25 fish. No big, 25 fish in just an evening session. No big fish, but out of those 25 fish that I caught, only 2 were short. And most of them were between 2 to 3 pounds, maybe 3 1/4 pounds. I will say that it is 2023. That great fishing that I had one day, I came out 2 days later and tried to make that same milk run, and I just really stunk it up. I think I caught 6 fish. So there is still that, 2023 stink that's going on out here, but more and more it's very consistent. Christian and I were out the other day, and I think we did a 5 or 6 hour trip, and I'm gonna just keep down a little bit. We got to go down here so I'm not in the sun. We had about a 5 or 6 hour trip, and had some periods of half an hour, 45 minutes in between bites, but all in all we moved around a lot. We caught quite a few fish, and again that 7 to 8 p.m. hours were happening, chatterbaits were happening. I caught a couple of nice fish on wake baits, and it's just a great time to be out here, guys. We're going to have good weather coming up this weekend. Now, last week the afternoon bite was better than the morning bite. Next week the tides are changing around a little bit. I think you guys that are going out in the morning and fishing, up through noon or 2 o'clock, you're going to have better fishing. So it should be a great time to be out this weekend. The weather's going to be, low 90s, high 80s. Get out, have some fun. Drop shot has been doing really well out here, especially the purples and pink colors. Make sure you've got a purple or pink worm like a Morning Dawn or a Margarita Mutilator. Punching has been good for some, not so good for others. I would stick to faster moving baits, and don't, you fish topwaters all day out here. So thank you guys for tuning in. The sun's coming up. I'm going to get my bald head off of the sun, go back home and have some breakfast. Hope to see you guys on the water. Good luck.